The real problem with where they're currently sitting is that Worthy's a rookie and he's an unknown. And anytime you put someone in a position who's an unknown to have to be a major contributor, I generally get uncomfortable because you just never know what those returns will be, especially in an Andy Reid offense where rookies generally don't have a reputation for performing well. Now, one guy who came in and performed well, Deshaun Jackson, when he was a rookie, everyone makes the Tyreek Hill comparisons. It's a bad comparison for Xavier Worthy. He doesn't run routes the same way. He doesn't move the same way. Doesn't have quite that same freakish jitterbug quickness either. And he's not built as thick. Deshaun Jackson, that's the comp. That's the ceiling, maybe, who knows? I mean, he's faster, I guess. But that's the guy you hope that he models his game after. And that's maybe a reason to be a little bit optimistic he could come in and make an impact early because Jackson was able to. Counting on a rookie is tough. And that's especially a smaller guy. You don't know what his role will be. And then especially having Rice out early, that's just tough. Hollywood Brown, I think he's a great fit. I love his ability. And I think we talked about this prior to the draft. I love his ability to win at the intermediate levels of the field in particular. He has good deep speed. His best routes are in the middle, the intermediate of the field, utilizing that speed as a threat to create space. He's really good at that, and that's where Patrick Mahomes loves to attack. But he can do both. And that's the great thing about maybe having him as their first option is he's not limited in where on the field he can threaten. In recent seasons, they've had guys who, MVS was, when he would track the ball decently, was a passable deep threat. Juju Smith-Schuster was a passable intermediate and shallow threat. Last year, Rashee Rice, good intermediate shallow threat, but not a deep threat. It'd be nice to get a guy who could threaten all three levels of the field that you can actually make defenses guess where they're going. So I love that signing. The depth frightens me if you have any sort of injury while Rice is hurt in particular, or something like that. That's definitely a frightening thing. I'm glad they got Hardman, especially considering the price they paid for him is hardly anything. Guys like Hardman as your wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5, paying them $1 million or $2 million a year, I'll take that all day. That's a great thing to do. I wish they'd gone out and gotten a bigger receiver who can line up on the boundary and handle some of those press coverage snaps and really eat some of that contact. I would have really liked that. That's one reason I wanted them to get Zay Jones, not because I think he's like a difference maker, but because he can take those boundary snaps or DJ Chark, someone like that. They didn't do that. So the depth is scary simply because you are one injury away from being back to an eerily similar situation to where you were last year, or you're relying on a rookie to help you avoid that. So I feel way better about the room, but right now the ceiling is very high. The floor is higher than it was last year with Brown. He's a competent NFL receiver, would have been the best receiver in the room by a country mile last year until Rashee Rice kind of came into his own. And then there might have been some equivalency there. So you're in a much better position, but man, I still wish they had a little more depth to go with there until we see what Worthy can do at the NFL level and see what their role is for him early on. We've never seen them hype up a rookie receiver like this before. So my assumption is they're going to try to get him involved. But my question is how much? Reid normally doesn't get guys involved until he trusts them to play X, Y, Z all over the field. He changed that rule with Rashee Rice a little bit out of sheer desperation last year. They had no one else. So I'm curious what they do with Worthy. I think he really is, it's such an easy answer, but because it's the obvious answer, he really is one of 2 or 3 keys to can the offense get back to what we've been used to seeing.